audiobooks, and the novella Harold's End. She is the subject of Jeff Fierzig's figure documentary author, The J.T. Leroy Story, and Lynn Hershman Neeson's film, The Ballad of J.T. Leroy. She has written for the New York Times, The Forward, the London Times, Spin, Man About Town, Vogue, Film Comment, Interview, The Keep Sports and Style, Filmmaker, ID, and others.
Yes.
A writer for the HBO series Deadwood, she also wrote the original script for Gus Van Sant's Elephant and was the film's associate producer. She has written the short films Radiance for Drew Lightfoot and Content Mode and Dreams of Levitation and Warfare of Pageantry for Sharif Hamza and Naunis. She has spoken extensively and lectured about gender variance and transgender issues for such sources as Ball Magazine, Ireland's Minefield Literary Stage, Dot 429, the Utah Valley University, Transgression Symposium, and others. She also serves as a board member of the Independent Living Resource Center of San Francisco. Please welcome Lauren Albert.
First, I'd like to raise a toast to all of you.
Yes.
Seriously, coming out and supporting writers and artists. It's a beautiful photo book. It's difficult to do, and being a writer now, especially we have AI, it's just such a great way to come together and find community. And there are these little niches all around this country that I found where it's so supportive, and I really want to thank all our readers and everyone who's come out and, supporting us and buying it. It really helps us continue to create art, which is very, very difficult. And I want to thank our hosts, Marissa, Rita. Did I start your name? Okay. Thank you for hosting, making this space, and for sharing that. That was like a cut and a bleed, and I relate and chin chin.
We're so happy to have you.
Well, I'm about to be had. So. All right, and thank you everyone for coming out. So this is from my memoir, which I just turned the fuck in. And, everyone's been asking, like, so what are you doing? It's like writing. What are you doing? Like writing. So what are you doing? Writing. And it's like, I turned it in. So what are you doing? Vomiting. So for those of you who don't know, I used an avatar. I wrote fiction using an avatar, and I did that because I had intense shame. Can you hear me okay, or is there, am I good? All right, so just let me know who's up. I need stage direction. So anyway, I was always looking for an avatar, and the year is 1985. I'm a freshman in college, and is that right, Trixie? About? Okay. And I'm looking for, this is my first time of trying to get an avatar. I'm trying to recruit an avatar. He didn't take me up on it. I'm not, spoiler alert. He turned out to be the guitarist of the Spin Doctors. We're still friends, but he was my first recruitment. So this is a new college. I'm a ward of the state. I'm in a group home, and I couldn't afford to dress the way all the kids did, and I wore like Lane Bryant, which was like the plus size clothing, and I couldn't look the way I felt my story should express, and I didn't want, I had a lot of shame about myself and even what I experienced. So I felt it would be better received if it came from someone else, and it would definitely circumvent my shame. So this is my first failed attempt. It's called Spin It Right Round. It's an excerpt. I kind of want to dance to that music too. Okay. Each time Mrs. Rosen clears her throat to begin reading, my heart slams away. but I practice keeping my face impassive and scan the room just as everybody else does to detect who is the secret scribe. In my notebook, I've kept marks the way a prisoner might etch time into a wall. There are 13 of us. In the class, no one absent. Now I hold my body perfectly still as if in an x-ray machine. This is the last one, Mrs. Rosen reports, as I already know. Holding the paper out with both hands, she begins. It's the street, right? So you don't ask questions you already know the answers to, like scars around the wrist areas. You already know that if the scars run straight across, this kid staged a suicide and wanted to be found. But sometimes you see scars that run up and down the wrist, and you look at that kid and you know he's alive only because somebody found him. But it's only a matter of time till you won't see that kid on the street anymore. Mrs. Rosen takes her seat and places my paragraph in front of her. In the vacuum of the silence, it lands like a thud. We've heard all the opening paragraphs and shall vote on it. Just read the last one, Molly says, slapping her hand to her forehead, then shoots her hand into the air. That's the only one that's baited and not boring. So anyone who wants to hear the rest of that last paragraph, raise your hand. One, two. L'chaim! I've married you all, Mormons. Hands shoot up around the room. The boy across from Molly lazily raises his left elbow planted on his desk. I match with a half-staff hand raise, as if trying to downplay a high-stake bid. Mrs. Rosen's mouth is a tense oval as the class votes without her. Okay, done! Molly slaps her fist like a gavel on her desk in satisfied finality. Well, Mrs. Rosen says, pushing her glasses further up her nose. Lips pursed, she sputters a flustered concession of raspberry, making everyone laugh. Okay, she allows. It is unanimous then. I guess this does move the process along, speaking more to herself. I've never had this happen before. As she adjusts an earring that needed no adjustment, and she thrusts her chin, I agree. It's an effective opening paragraph. Our author seems to capture her attention straight away, and that was the point of this assignment. She takes a stapled set from a stack. Now let's see if the rest is as absorbing, shall we? Mrs. Rosen stands with the other pages of my 3-page story in her hand, clears her throat as usual, and begins to read. Whenever anyone in the class reads aloud for more than a minute, there is a chorus like fallen, stiffened leaves brooming shit off concrete. Half the class are also art students at Parsons and listen while working on sketchbooks, sketching tight crosshatch shadings with their mechanical pencils. Like the fountain pens in one girl's eagle feather quill, everyone's shit is now still, except for the boy across from Molly. Slim black Sharpies slanting like a dive-bombing crow, he keeps the fuck at it, as he's done when every other paragraph was read. His obliviousness to its squeak does not, as usual, irritate the fuck out of me. Now, his focus is on darkening all the white webbing paper between the pre-punched holes of his spiral notebook, as if his fucking life depended on it. It incriminates him, absolutely. His pen-chewed lid wobbles inches from his mouth, which parts as if he were preparing to gnaw some more. But no, it's more like lip syncing. Not the song lyrics, that normally fill his pages in the marker's black letters. Oh no, it's as if he were reciting along, the way an altar boy joins silently with a priest's incantation. A cascade of shoulder-length mahogany hair effectively shields his comet tail-shaped eyes. Mrs. Rosen finishes and the room is hushed except for Shankman's Sharpie. She places the story down and retakes her seat. Well, Mrs. Rosen breaks the silence, but before she can continue, Molly leaps to her feet and begins to clap, slipping her blonde dreadlocks behind her shoulders. The rest of the class quickly follows, only a few, including me, remaining seated. We all bestow our admiration to Shankman, who finally pokes his head up, catches all the directed attention, and gives a lopsided smile, like a child arising from a nap to a plate of chocolate chip cookies still warm from the oven. Even my hands are you done? I'm just playing. Okay, not really. Even as my hand extends as if to dive into Shankman, my palms stinging as I smack them together. Mrs. Rosen attempts to speak over the applause. So, as you read in the instructions, part of the assignment was putting your name on the back of the last page. The clapping dies, but there is an anticipatory state, like a raffle, before the winning ticket is revealed. Not only this is wondrously different because everyone knows it is not their winning ticket, yet the thrill is still palpable. But this story I have now finished reading this story I have now finished reading in its entirety, which is entitled Charm, has no author's name put to it. Mrs. Rosen is the only one not looking at Mr. Shankman. Would the author please like to make themselves known? She taps her pen, cranes her head around the class. I feel the pinpricks of sweat through my support hose, the roll of my belly escaped over. Molly arches a pencil-thin eyebrow at Shankman, who gives his usual wink. That made me cry, the girl with the quill pen sniffles. But what does turning tricks mean? She swivels, addressing her question. It's 1984. Addressing her question to Shankman, letting the feather caress her ear. A whore, he answers automatically. Ah! She nods, flushing, turning back, recording this new information into her leather-bound notebook. Another kid in a motorcycle jacket and biker boot jumps in. It's a crucial story, man. I mean, it's like sad, but not like sappy. The way the guy in it gets off the streets and how that's juxtaposed with the other kid that didn't. Did he like die of AIDS? Again, directed to Shankman, who ignores the question as he is resumed darkening the rim of his notebook. Mrs. Rosen gives a rueful grin. You are all making an assumption about the narrator's gender. It's a guy, Molly calls out, slapping her desk again. Is it? Mrs. Rosen asks. Here, I made you all copies of the story. For the first time, her gaze idles on me. I try to look away, but cannot. It's like one of those street acts where a giant soap bubble encases you, the magician. Finally, she turns to her task. Licking her fingers to magnet up pages. I watch stiffly as she passes out the stack of the 3 pages of my story. It dawns on me that Mrs. Rosen had already decided and chosen my story. It is the only one for which she made copies for the entire class.
Wow.
Yeah, right? I steady my breath. Read it now to yourselves in full, she instructs simply. I furtively glance around Everyone's head is bowed, absorbed as they flip pages. Only Shankman keeps his copy closed. I briefly peer over to Mrs. Rosen. She is there, eyes holding fast. I give my head a pleading shake of, please, no. Wrinkles crater around her eyes as she gives a sad, slight nod. Oh yeah, Molly calls out as she turns over the last page. It doesn't say, she chuckles, but it feels like a dude talking. Why? Mrs. Rosen asks patiently. I don't know, his toughness, the way he... Okay, the narrator is like hanging out, skinheads and all. I don't know, Molly cackles self-consciously. Oh, fuck. We're missing a page. Dude, do you have a page? Can you look in there and see if we have page 6? No, only left.
What comes next?
I have it on my phone. I do. No, it is on my phone. Okay. Okay, where was I? Oh yeah, Molly, okay. I don't know, his toughness, the way he, okay, the narrator is like hanging out, skinheads and all, I don't know, Molly cackles self-consciously. And to me, a girl begins, her faux leopard skin hair band pulling back her orange hair, her perpetually bored expression replaced by an engaged concern, a girl, or, oh sorry. I got distracted by this, like, oh my God. This is like, it's like pulling out before. It's like J.D. Vance's nightmare, right? Where's my cat? This is my cat piece. Okay, I'm going, yeah, very interesting. It's an apple cider. A girl or a female might be more, I don't know, more emotional, not as offhand about child abuse. Perhaps, Mrs. Rosen says, but does the narrator's unsentimental take allow for more insight into the narrator's experience without going into any detail about what those... Okay, wait a second, let me look at my bag. Fuck me, right? You would think I did this shit on purpose.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right, I gotta find it on the... Okay, I need my phone. Now we're gonna have to wait for the fucking actual final and where the fuck. Okay. Hang on one second, I'll do this. I'm gonna call a friend.
Is it Nicole?
Yeah. Hey Nicole, you're on live. Guess what? I can you read page 6 of the manuscript? Of the live reading. You're live right now on the microphone.
All right, let me open the computer here.
Thank you. Well, I'm live at the reading, so it's spin it right around the one for the Palos.
Oh, the Brooklyn reading excerpt that I prepared for you?
Yes, thank you.
All right, is there another typo in there that I will...
No, it's missing. Page 6 is missing, so God wanted you to read. Hashem. No.
Let me start at the bottom of page 5.
Okay. Wait, everybody, wait. This is Nicole Gagne. She's my
Hi, everybody.
You look great.
Here we go. I'm starting at the bottom of page 5, and then I'll do all of 6 and take it into page 7 for you. How's that?
Oh, that's hot.
All right.
Winsome is here, and Jamie. Father and everyone else. Okay, bye.
Mrs. Rosen finishes, and the room is hushed, except for Statement Sharpie.
Shankman.
Shankman, except for Shankman Sharpie. That's very illiterate. Except for Shankman Sharpie. She places the story down and retakes her seat. Well, Mrs. Rosen breaks the silence, but before she can continue, Molly leaps to her feet and begins to clap, flipping her blonde dreads behind her shoulders. The rest of the class quickly follow, only a few, including me, remaining seated. We all bestow our admiration toward Shankman, who finally pokes his head up, catches all the directed attention, and gives a lopsided smile, like a child arising from a nap to a plate of chocolate chip cookies still warm from the oven.
And where's Meg? Come here, baby. I got my baby here.
Hi, everybody.
Everything unorthodox here.
Yeah, I'm just here. I'm Meg. I'm just here to be ghost for Laura to ask herself or remind you herself. But there's hats and books for sale. The penis bones are sold out, so you stop, you snooze, you lose. And she also wanted me to tell you that her pussy's for sale to the highest bidder. Bye bye, done.